Ben.
This week, we're covering Ghostbusters 1984.
We are.
I've got a fun game for us. I've done some research into a bunch of crossovers with other franchises that the Ghostbusters have had over the years.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know who would win in a fight between Ghostbusters and the crossover. The game is called Ghostbusters vs. the World!
Okay, this makes them sound like a sort of right-wing hate group where they're suddenly...
Yeah. All right, it's a working title.
Yeah, working title. We'll come back to it.
We'll figure something out. Circle back around to me. So the first crossover that I want to know, who would win in a fight between Ghostbusters or Beetlejuice?
Okay, that's a deliciously wonderful idea.
It's a weird one. So this crossover only exists at Universal Studios in Florida in 1991. And the only reason I know it exists is because there is one home movie shot on VHS of the parade happening where 4 actors playing the Ghostbusters and 1 actor playing Beetlejuice fight in the street. It's incredible.
However that came to be, genius.
Incredible.
It's a difficult question, though, as to who would win, because I feel like the Ghostbusters, by definition, kind of have to be feckless idiots who are learning on the job.
Back off, man. I'm a scientist.
And I feel like Beetlejuice, with the age advantage and the being he's a tricksy little guy.
He's tricky.
I feel like he would run rings around them, except for the fact that he is defeated by a suburban couple in his own film.
Buddy, this is exactly what happens. Like, at the whole parade, he's a proper cheeky chappy. But yeah, he does get caught. He gets captured almost immediately. Now, these next crossovers, bud, they're from the Extreme Ghostbusters, and these sequence of events are set several years after the events of the original movie and the TV show that followed.
Right, okay.
Dr. Egon Spengler agrees to help a group of his young students reform the Ghostbusters, but he's like their mentor.
Right, okay. So a couple questions first off.
Yeah.
When you say Extreme Ghostbusters, as we've discussed on the show before, there's 2 ways that can go. One's like into really sour candy and surfing.
Yeah.
And the other one's like cutting off heads and burning flags.
It's like the first one.
It's the first one.
Yeah, it's the first one.
Okay.
It's the first one. I want to know who would win between the Ghostbusters and Hellraiser Cenobites.
No, Ben. No, that's not real.
From episode 5 of Extreme Ghostbusters, called Deadliners, a group of demonic creatures based on Cenobites from Hellraiser kidnap people and turn them into monsters. The Ghostbusters learn that their creator is a famous author of horror novels for children that everyone loves.
Sorry. No, there's a couple of major errors there, because the Cenobites were primarily based on like a kink BDSM sex torture scene, right? Now, when you said famous author, I was like, oh, they folded Clive Barker in. How meta.
Yeah.
Children's author? No. There is a reason there's not a kids section in Ann Summers.
Have you not read R.L. Stein's erotic novellas? What goes bump in the night? And it's just a picture of a kid sort of slamming their parents' door shut.
She wasn't making macaroni.
So who would win? Ghostbusters or Hellraiser Cenobites?
Hellraiser Cenobites would win because Venkman's a pervert. He's very obviously a pervert.
Venkman would be Uncle Franked immediately. He would be a pile of soup immediately. The rest of the Ghostbusters would have to murder innocents to rebuild a Venkman.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Okay, for the next crossover, Extreme Ghostbusters versus the Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
That didn't happen, Ben.
Episode 9 of the Extreme Ghostbusters, entitled Killjoys. The Extreme Ghostbusters go after evil ghost clowns and laughter vampires who are terrorizing the hearts and minds of Manhattan.
No.
Yeah, it's a real thing.
We're banning Extreme Ghostbusters from now on.
I've got one more.
It's like naming new metal bands and talking about metal. It's just a weird thing that happened. It's a weird appendix. We try not to look at it. Extreme Ghostbusters are clearly the new metal of Ghostbusters. All right, so Killer Clowns Outer Space obviously lose.
I think they win.
What?
The proton pack versus a popcorn ray gun.
What, so a nuclear accelerator versus popcorn?
It's going to clog up the gubbins.
Oh, it's going to clog up the gubbins. Okay. Point to the Killer Clowns by virtue of clogging up the gubbins.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, no fair. I can't argue with that logic.
No, the Ghostbusters win. Of course they do. Right, I've got one more from the Extreme Ghostbusters, and it's incredible. It's Extreme Ghostbusters versus the Men in Black.
Oh, the Men in Black.
Yeah, in episode 14, Grease. As a gremlin sets out to destroy all communications.
Sorry, a gremlin?
Yes, a gremlin, Rob.
Well, actual gremlin like Mogwais and Gremlins.
Yes, there is a gremlin.
This is a 3-part crossover.
It's a 3-way crossover between Men in Black, Gremlins, and the Extreme Ghostbusters.
Right.
As a gremlin sets out to destroy all communications, transportation, and power companies throughout New York City, the Extreme Ghostbusters unsuccessfully tried to convince the authorities they have a ghost on their hands. Instead of being thanked, the Extreme Ghostbusters are arrested and put on an airplane where they have a final confrontation with the gremlin, and at the last minute manage to capture it.
I think that this episode has vastly overestimated the power level of a gremlin. I think they've gone, what if every gremlin was Elon Musk and owned infrastructure and was able to influence politics?
I think these guys, they predicted the future. They knew that Trump was going to be president and be sort of like, that gremlin is going to be on a plane at some point, ruining people's days. You know what I mean?
Well, okay, I've got a couple of issues here because the Men in Black aren't ghosts, right? Like, that's not versus. Everyone's on the same side there. You're mixing sci-fi with horror there.
Well, it's the underdogs versus government-funded black ops units. You know what I mean? Like, that's the main fight there.
Okay, yeah. I mean, that is the sort of libertarian right-wing wet dream of Ghostbusters, isn't it? It's
keep saying right-wing. Libertarian, I'm on board with. Right-wing, not so much.
You're right. You're right.
Oh, he did it funny! I think Men in Black take that one, if I'm honest.
Obviously.
They got that little fucking memory stick.
Yeah, exactly.
And they've got the car that can drive on ceilings and shit.
Honestly, within 30 seconds, every single Ghostbuster's turning back up at uni, wondering why they don't have a job.
I think we can all agree that the gremlin loses, Men in Black take it, easily. Right, so we're now leaving the Extreme Ghostbusters universe and we're going into comic book territory, right?
Oh, fucking hell. Right, yeah.
There's a lot of Ghostbusters comic universe with a lot of different crossovers, 2 of which really tickle my pickle.
Okay.
The first one being the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles versus the Ghostbusters. Who wins?
I was unaware that the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were ghosts.
Okay, so hear me out. Think about it logically. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles live in the sewers of New York City.
All right, so think about it logically. The ninja-fied radioactive turtles that are anthropomorphic. Sorry, of course, logic applies in all cases here.
Yeah.
You're right.
Think about it logically.
Silly me.
They don't share the same universe. They live like in adjacent dimensions, right?
Okay, fuck me. All right, Carl Sagan, let's go.
In a 4-part comic book series from IDW, transported to a different universe by a faulty invention, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles find themselves in a New York City much like their own, but with one major exception, a rampant ghost problem. And if that weren't enough, the Turtles and their reluctant new hosts, the Ghostbusters, soon find that the Turtles didn't come alone. Who would win, Rob?
So they're not against each other for a start. And secondly, when you said transported to a different universe by a faulty invention, I would have assumed that was a Spengler, not a turtle invention. IDW have got this all wrong.
No, they've got it exactly right. A fucking Egon Spengler invention wouldn't be faulty. One that's invented by a radioactive turtle might be a bit squiffy.
It's a miracle that they can invent a bin, to be honest.
They wear bandanas on their eyes. Come on, man. Like...
Again, I would say the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles win that. They're literally ninjas and turtles.
They're all close range, though. You know what I mean? I feel like Ghostbusters have an edge because they've got like a ranged weapon.
Yeah, but ninjas famously sneak.
Oh, I see my problem. I see the hole in my logic now. Touché, good sir. Touché.
You see what happens when you apply logic to radioactive turtles and men who kill ghosts?
Yeah, God.
I've got a few that I want to ask you.
Let's see.
Who would win? Ghostbusters versus Predator.
Ghostbusters.
What are you talking about?
If it can bleed, we can kill it. And there's 4 of them. One Arnold Schwarzenegger battered one. Prey! A girl who couldn't figure out how to use a gun somehow manages to immaculately place a face mask to shoot the Predator. Yeah, it's obviously Ghostbusters.
Okay, and then these are some crossovers where people aren't necessarily against one another, but it's universes I'd like to see crossed.
Okay.
Ghostbusters X Human Centipede. Just one.
So it's no longer Ghostbusters, it's just Ghostbuster. It's just 4 of them as one long Ghostbuster.
Yeah. Exactly.
That is a 4-part comic book I don't want to read.
Exactly right. It's a contemporary horror franchise. Less contemporary. Ghostbusters crossing over into the universe of Patrick Swayze Ghost.
Ooh.
And just as they're doing the pottery, just the proton beam comes by.
Days. Yes, buddy. Yes, buddy. That would break my heart, though. I wouldn't be able to handle myself. I love that film too much.
Venkman would just be right in there. He'd be able to make everything all right.
No, it would break my heart because Patrick Swayze would have to watch Peter Venkman fuck his wife. Like, Swayze would be carrying on with his pottery and he just glances over with one single tear down his face.
All right, hit me with your next ones.
Ghostbusters versus Ron Jeremy. Who would win?
At what contest?
Fight, I guess.
What universe would that exist in?
This one, Rob, because Ron Jeremy is an uncredited cameo in Ghostbusters 1984.
No, he's not. No,
yes,
he's
he
not.
Is.
No,
yes,
he's
he
not.
Is. Only in certain versions of the film, where it's the wide-angle release, you can see Ron Jeremy in the chanting crowd stood behind one of the police barricades. So who would win in a fight? Ron Jeremy?
Oh, in a fight, the Ghostbusters.
Yeah, okay, Sam, that's it. That's all I needed. The final one, I'm going to throw in a celebrity deathmatch / a Royal Rumble. In the Ghostbusters comic book universe, in the X-Files comic book universe, I guess, more specifically, there is a 4-part comic series from IDW. They cross paths with the Ghostbusters, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and The Crow from the movie The Crow. So it's fucking fantastic. Go and fucking read it. It's insanely good.
You keep saying IDW are this great comics book company.
They make the best comics.
They literally just smash action figures together and go, yeah, write that.
Yeah, it's mint. But they do it with incredibly talented writers and insanely talented artists. Mars Attacks and Kiss, IDW, smash that shit together.
What's the question, Ben?
My question to you, Rob, is who would win in a fight between X-Files, Mulder and Scully, the Ghostbusters, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and The Crow? But the main question of this event, Rob, this entire video has been leading me to this. Are you ready to rumble?
I have a horrible feeling you're going to bring a wrestling thing in here, aren't you?
I was going to, but I'm not going to now because I feel exposed.
I'm going to guess, right?
Yeah, who would win in the 4-way tag team? Go!
Mulder and Scully.
Explain.
I like the underdog.
And they have guns.
They've got guns. It'd just be dead turtles and Ghostbusters all over the floor.
No, but the Crow can't be killed with guns. Oh. Oh. That. Okay.
That's my favorite thing we've ever done. And I think that is where we're going to end it.
This is where we end the video.
We've done a whole 1 hour long podcast about 1984's Ghostbusters available at the link just down there. Go listen to it. It's as fun as this.
We love you. Bye.